You want to become a data scientist, you want to become an AI engineer, but do you really think that basic bar charts, pie charts, and line charts could take you there? Absolutely, they will not. We do have so many advanced charts. In this video, we are going to see some advanced charts that's used in most of the research-based work papers and thesis analysis, specifically from Matplotlib. Not every schools, not every college, or specifically not every IT training centers will teach you this. You will get to know about this only if you study in top tier colleges or sometimes when you really do deep research works. So this video is very important. Don't skip any of the part. Watch till the end so you'll get good knowledge on them. You'll get hands-on practice on them. Let's get started. So the charts that we are going to see is specifically considered as a signature Matplotlib charts, which is highly used in AI data science based projects, research papers, and thesis quality work. So that is why I'm telling this video is very important. Don't skip any part of the video. To get started, we are loading a data set that is available online, specifically from Seaborn library itself. The name of the data set is tips. Specifically, this is the data set about a restaurant where people, after paying their bill, they'll be giving tips to the workers, right, who's working there. So this is about the amount of tips each and every customers are paying to that restaurant, and if even if a group of people visited the restaurant, how much they are giving us tip. So this data set is specifically about that. So for working with that, the basic requirements what we have to do is we first need to import the important libraries. Specifically, Matplotlib and Seaborn is for creating visualizations and NumPy Pandas is for handling my data set. First, I need to load my data set, right? Here we are directly downloading the online data set called tips. So when I give df equal to sns.load dataset tips from SNS library, I mean the Seaborn library that is available online, it will automatically download the tips dataset into my coding environment Google Column. Next to that, I'm giving df.head to see my first 5 rows. See the type of columns that we do have: total bill, tips, sex, smoker, day, time, and size. Here, total bill is the total bill what they are paying. Tips is about how much tips they are giving. Sex is about female or male. Then smoker says about if that particular person is a smoker or not. Day, it is Sunday. It might be Sunday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So that days. Then the time. At which particular time they are coming and eating at their restaurant. Then the size, the group of people that they totally visit to along with their friends, or if they're coming a single person. So to decide, so how many people are giving more tips. So likewise, we do have other columns. So the target column here is tips. So which column has high relation to tips and what we could make change in the business. Likewise, we need to analyze. So the first chart that I'm going to create is broken axis plot. Before seeing the chart and seeing the coding, let me tell you what this is about. We have seen bar chart in the previous video, right? So it is a next level of bar chart, but the one problem when what we have as bar chart is when I have a particular category which has high value. If I plot a bar plot, what will happen? The other categories which has less value, we couldn't analyze the difference between the values which has less value. So that is the problem we do have. That one value, that one category which has high value will be clearly shown. But how can we figure out the differences between the categories which has less differences? We couldn't see them clearly, right? So to resolve that issue that we have in bar chart, we have this broken axis plot. This is how the chart will look like. See how it looks. It is a next level of bar chart. So for creating that, we need to use this coding. Listen this carefully because this is very important. If we keep on listening to the code and understand how the coding works, you will often have the potential to customize it, and attending the interviews will be super easy for you. Don't always take coding from online because this is going to give you the confidence nothing else could. Keep on following that. You will really understand why I'm telling this. Basically, we are creating data set. We are not going to use the tips data set for this chart. For next chart, we'll definitely be using. So for this chart, we are creating a data set because of the reason I need to clearly see that, right? That particular one data need to be different from all other data, which should be high. So for that purpose, for this chart alone, I'm creating a separate data set. So when you look into it, you can clearly see that values 10, 12, 14, 15 are similar, but 120 is quite deviated from those values. And on labels, I am giving my customized labels as per my requirement. AB to ABCD likewise. Then after that figure part, when I give axis 1 dot axis 2, and I'm giving 2 comma 1 inside the subplots, right? I'm creating two subplots here. It is not about creating a one chart. It is about creating two charts and combining them. That is stacked vertically. So here when I give 2 comma 1, 2 means the number of rows and 1 means the number of columns. So the x-axis is 1 here and the y-axis is 2. So 2 rows, 1 columns basically. And at the right side I have given share x is equal to true. This is about both plots are using the same x-axis. Then when I'm giving ax1 dot bar and ax2 dot bar, I'm giving the same kind of values inside it, right? Labels, comma values, labels, comma values. Why twice? Why I need to give it twice? Axis 1 and axis 2, basically. What is the purpose? Here, axis 1, I mean that bottom graph is for zooming into small values. And the another part, top graph is for zooming into large values. So that is why we are creating axis 1 and axis 2. So same data but different y-axis ranges. So next to that we have ax1 dot set y limitations and the same y limitations with another range y. This is actually the key part of this coding. So observe clearly now that axis 1 shows me the 100 to 130. In the top part we have created, right? Axis 1 dot var is equal to labels dot values. The top part is specifically axis 1 part is for 100 to 130. And the bottom part, axis 2 is for 0 to 20. Because based on my values, I'm going to customize this. When I plot this, I'll be seeing the output, right? So based on that, I need to customize it. The next step, what we have that spines. What is the spines in this coding? This is for removing the border of top plot and border of the bottom plot. I mean, observe clearly again. It is for removing the bottom border of top plot. Of top plot, it will be having a line, right? It need to be removed. And the bottom part from the bottom plot will be having some border, right? Both need to be removed. So it is going to tell the viewer that this axis is specifically broken here. So that is why we are setting that invisible to false. That shouldn't be visible to the viewer. That is what I mean here. Okay. So as per my requirement, I can adjust the tick labels. So when I give ax1 dot tick parameters label top is equal to false, it will be adjusted accordingly. So see here. This part is for adjusting accordingly. When I give label top is equal to false, I am adjusting it. So as per that, on the next line, I am giving tick bottom, dot tick bottom. What that a name means, what it means when I give tick bottom, what it specifically means. It is going to show me the x-axis labels only at the bottom. For that, I'm giving it in this way. So it could give me a cleaner look. It could appear to be clean. So that is why I'm giving this. Finally, to show the plot, what I'll be giving. We'll be following the same for every chart as we followed in the previous videos. It is absolutely this plot.show part. So this is how my chart is created. See, it doesn't have any borders on the top of the bottom chart and bottom of the top chart, right? That is why I'm giving label top is equal to false and I'm giving set visible equal to set visible of false likewise. How this works? Specifically, how this works? It is allowing extreme values to be shown without hiding smaller ones. So when I let this chart to be created all at one place, what will happen? This particular part, this E part alone will be deviated. And every values, every categories which has less differences will be hidden, right? It need to be seen clearly. That need not be hidden. So to resolve that issue, I am using this chart. Next, we have twin axis plot. This is how the twin axis plot will look like. So it generally looks like two twin lines, right? That is why we got the name of twin axis plot. What it means and why do we need this? Based on the name, can you guess what it means? Okay, let's directly get into coding so you'll get to know how it works. I'm using here the group by function for day and I'm using .agg. What is that agg? It is specifically an aggregation function. When I give group by for day, it is grouping all rows based on day wise. So all Friday rows comes together, all Saturday rows comes together. When I give .agg, it's short for aggregate values. You're telling the Python for each day, calculate the mean of total bill and tip. So the results will be like for day wise Thursday, this is the average total bill. This is the average tip. For Friday, it is the average total, average bill likewise. Next, I'm going to create a figure on first axis. For that, I'm giving figure comma axis 1 is equal to plt.subplots. So figure is for creating the whole figure, I mean the canvas, and axis 1 is for first y-axis that I'm creating here, the left side part. Next to that, I'm giving axis1.plot, right? So this part, what it is actually doing when I give group.index in axis1.plot. So for x-axis values, so here what is the x-axis values? The Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, the days. So the days I am specifically grouping with total bill. Total bill on the y-axis and the days on the x-axis. When I'm giving marker is equal to 0, I mean marker is equal to O, that is a marking. So when the lines are getting connected, you can see the dot like one, right? When I shown you, shown you. So that is what I'm adding as marker here. It is for adding that circle dots on each data point. And finally, when I give set y label is equal to set y label of average total bill, it is going to label for left y axis. Now we can see that ax2 is equal to ax1.winx, right? This is the key concept. Here we are sharing the same days. We are having different scales. Axis 1 is for left y axis, that is the total bill. Axis 2 is for right y axis, that is tip. And finally, for plotting it, I am giving a axis 2 dot plot. So here I am giving grouped indexes of group of tip and marker is equal to yes. So here while marking it, we are using a marker as yes, like the square markers, like the different shape. So why I'm using it here is because it gives us the clarity when seeing the difference. That's why I'm using it here. And finally, when I give that plot title as twin axis plot, it will be creating the chart with the title twin axis plot. And when I give plot.show, the final output will be shown to the viewers. So that's what I'm doing here basically. Okay. When I'm giving this plot.show, this is basically created. What is the purpose of this chart? Twin X chart? It is for creating a second y-axis which will be sharing the same x-axis. So the second y-axis which is created, it is not top part. It is like a hidden part. It is not visible, but the chart that it created is visible. So both are getting connected on the same part. So see, we have for one line we have dot, that is the O marker. When I see the square shape, it is because we used F here, right? So that's why we have the square shape here. The next chart we have the next chart that we have is custom annotations and arrows. Specifically, why do we need this? What is the purpose of this? By looking at the name, can you figure it out? Why do we need this? Custom annotations and arrows. This is how the output of the chart will look like. See, what might be the usage of this particular chart? The coding might appear almost similar to what we have seen. Can you figure out anything? Can you understand anything? Because the previous one is almost similar to this encoding part. But the first thing what I'm doing here is I'm plotting the figure. Why? This actual code is about creating a new empty figure. It is like a fresh drawing sheet. After creating the drawing sheet, what I'm doing here is I'm going to plot the total bill versus day. So for that, I'm giving plt dot plot of grouped index, group total bill, and a marker is 1. Then I need to find the highest average bill day, right? In which day particularly we have the highest average bill. So for that, I'm using max day is equal to group of total bill dot idx max. What is the index of that maximum value in total bill? Then for maximum value, I'm giving group of total bill dot max. What is the purpose of this? It gives the maximum numeric value when it comes to this pandas function. So now you know where the highest bill occurred, how high it is. Where occurred the index value and how much the highest bill is. So for both we are giving the functions here. Then you are getting into the star part of this coding. The annotation, adding annotation. plt.annotate, I'm giving the highest average bill. This is the text you want to show on the plot, first thing. Then I'm giving xy equal to maximum day, maximum value, right? So this x is actually about day with highest bill and y is about highest average bill value. So when I give this together, it is about exact point to point the arrow that is moving accordingly. So when arrow ends here, it is about to point out that. Next I'm giving xy text equal to 0.5, max value is equal to plus 2, right? What is it actually? This is about specifically telling my Python coding. The 0.5 is about, it is actually the x position. So it is slightly right of that first label. And when I give max value is about plus 2, it is on the y position, a bit above the maximum value. So why do we need this? Why do we need this? What is the purpose of giving this specific value 0.5 and plus 2 above max value and all? This avoids overlapping the dot. That is why I need this. Then what is that arrow props equal to dict? It's about adding an arrow. So for adding an arrow, I'm adding the style. So this is how the arrow will look like, right? So that's why I'm adding here. So when I didn't add that part, the only text will be shown, the arrow will not be there. And finally, I'm giving the title and I'm giving the plot.show. So it will be showing me the plot that I created. See how it looks like. So this is how it generally looks. What is the purpose of annotate chart? It allows arrows, labels, and explanations directly on plots. The fourth chart we have is subplot grids. So it is almost like creating a dashboard. But what is a dashboard? We have the experience of creating charts, right? Like as a data scientist, as an AI engineer, or as a data analyst, we'll often be creating charts. But how will you make the client understand the chart? You'll be creating a place where you put all the charts and show them this is what I took from the data and this is the proof. So that place where you put all the charts to show them the proof, that is called as dashboard. So it allows multiple model views in one figure. The specific purpose of this is to compare models side by side. If I'm using multiple machine learning models, I can see the output of that by creating this chart side by side. And for EDA dashboards, it is for understanding the data. We'll be creating exploratory data analysis dashboards. So for that, we can use these charts. I mean specifically the subplots. Now look into the coding part and see how it would be created. So the first thing I'm doing here is figure.axis. What is it? When I give figure, the first word I'm giving fig, it is about creating the grid of plots. So for that, why I need to give 2, 2? I am saying to my Python code, create 2 rows and 2 columns, totally 4 plots. Why specifically 8 and 6? So this is about the width of my chart and height of my chart. 8 is width is 8 inches. 6 is about height is 6 inches likewise. Then I'm giving axis. Axis is in 2D array. So I'm specifying what need to be there. So this axis that I'm creating is 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1 likewise. So here each cell is like one subplot. In matrix we have seen, right, 0th row, 0th column, 0th row, first column, first row, 0th column likewise. So that is how it basically works. Then I need to create a histogram here. So for creating that, I'm giving sns.histplot of, I am giving inside df, I'm calling the total bill column alone. Then I'm giving in axis, first I'm creating 0, 0 axis. This is the first row, first column. So that is actually about 0 axis, 0, 0 axis. There, I'm creating a histogram for total bill. Then on 0, 1 axis, I'm creating a histogram for tip. Then on the bottom part, 1, 0, that part on that axis, I'm creating a box plot for total bill. On the another axis 1, 1, I'm creating a box plot for tip. So day wise, we are creating these plots. And finally, when I want to fit all into a particular part, I'm creating that plot dot type layout. So everything will be fitted into a particular part and it will be shown clearly to the viewer. So for finally seeing the output, obviously that plot dot show. See, everything got fitted into a frame, right? For total bill, we have the so-called histograms, and for tip, I have the so-called histogram, and for total bill, I do have box plot, and for tip, I do have box plot. What is the use of it? It is for creating a grid of axis for structured visual comparison. And finally, we have error bar plot. We need this, and this is absolutely an essential one. This is something you might see for the first time, but it is very important. What it is about. The name clearly explains the purpose of this chart. It might be about explaining the errors. So how do it explains? Look into the coding, you can clearly understand. So it is more about moving towards the statistical thinking. So let's go clearly understand, try to understand it, okay? So it will be easy for sure. When I give df.groupby at the initial stage, it groups data by each day. When I'm giving next to day, it selects only the tip column. When I'm giving mean, it calculates the average mean for each day. In the second line of coding, first line is about calculating the mean tip, and the second line of coding is about calculating the standard deviation of the tip. So how will you create? Instead of giving dot mean, you'll just give dot std. I told it easy, right? It's easy. Then I'm creating the error bar plot. So for that, plt dot error bar, then I'm going to call the index values of both for mean tip and for std tip. I mean for the index value of the mean tip value and the value of the mean tip value. So I need both. I need the index and I need the value. So for getting that, I'm giving this way. Then why I'm giving YERR? What is this? This word itself looks something weird to me. It is about length of error bars. So if error is less than or greater than +1, plus or -1, about standard deviation. So now each point shows if mean is plus or minus variability, the differences. So here why I'm giving O here, it is about a circle marker on my chart. And for this chart, I need a title, right? So I'm giving the error bar plot. I told it easy, right? So it will not be giving you any confusion. And for Y, on the Y part, that axis part, it needs a label. So specifically in this chart, it needs a label. So I'm giving the label as mean tip. So that is why I'm having this label, mean tip. And finally, for seeing the plot, I'm giving plot.show. So this is how the error chart will looks like. From this, you can clearly understand what kind of errors in my data, errors are there in my data. So this chart is specifically about, it represents variability or confidence range around the mean. So this is the purpose of this error plot, to see the errors clearly by understanding the standard deviation. So I believe you clearly understood some new charts and you learned new concepts very clearly. So this is something you will not be learning from any colleges or IT training centers or anywhere, wherever you learn AI or data science, because this is specifically used for research purpose. After you get into the industry, you'll be using along with your team members. So if you want to stay updated, make sure you subscribe my channel. So you'll not be missing any updates. If you have any doubts, without hesitation, drop them in the comments. Bye for now. We'll meet you in next amazing video.